The automatic doors parted with a whisper, letting in the crisp evening air as Sarah and James rushed into the clinic. Max, their golden retriever, lay limp in James's arms, his once bright amber eyes barely open. His fur, usually golden and full of life, looked dull. Every shallow breath he took felt like it might be his last. Sarah's voice trembled as she spoke. "Please, we don't have much time." Dr. Evelyn Carter had seen cases like this before. Mysteries that left even the most experienced veterinarians grasping for answers. Max had been to 3 different clinics, undergone multiple blood tests, ultrasounds, and even an MRI. Everything came back inconclusive. The last vet had suggested preparing for the worst. James swallowed hard. They said we might have to say goodbye tonight. Evelyn's jaw tightened. Let's not jump to conclusions. She turned toward the sterile, glass-paneled room at the back of the clinic, where a machine hummed softly, awaiting its next patient. Unlike traditional diagnostic tools, this was something revolutionary, something that had been changing the future of veterinary medicine. "This is our AI diagnostic unit," she explained. "It scans every single cell in Max's body, processes years of medical data, and compares his results with millions of similar cases worldwide. If there's an answer, it will find it." Sarah and James exchanged a glance. They had already spent thousands on tests, emergency visits, and specialists. The AI scan alone came with a $20,000 price tag, an amount that could pay for half a year's rent. But Sarah didn't hesitate. "Do it." Evelyn nodded. Max was carefully placed onto the scanning table. The machine's cold, metallic arm lowered over him, lights flickering across its sleek surface as it began its work. The process was eerily silent. Unlike human doctors, the AI didn't need time to think, to consider possibilities. It simply worked, processing trillions of data points per second, cross-referencing real-time scans with thousands of similar cases. It looked for patterns invisible to the human eye. Minute irregularities in blood flow, microscopic cellular changes, untraceable genetic markers. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. On the wall-mounted screen, streams of data scrolled faster than anyone could read. Evelyn's breath caught as a section of the results turned red. The AI had found something, a rare genetic disorder. It was so uncommon that most veterinarians would never see a case like this in their lifetime. Traditional scans wouldn't have detected it until it was too late. But here it was, an answer. Evelyn spun to face them. Max has an extremely rare enzyme deficiency. It's been slowly shutting down his organs, but the symptoms mimic a dozen other diseases. That's why no one could pinpoint it. James's hands clenched into fists. Is there a cure? Evelyn hesitated. Not exactly a cure, but we can manage it. There's a treatment, a specialized enzyme infusion therapy. But it's not cheap. Silence. Sarah's lips trembled. How much? Evelyn exhaled. With the medication, ongoing monitoring, and potential follow-up surgery, upwards of $50,000. James rubbed his face, his eyes dark with exhaustion. They had already drained their savings. They had pet insurance, but it wouldn't cover experimental treatments like this. "We'll find a way," Sarah said, gripping his arm. "We can't lose him." The decision was made. The first infusion was administered that night. Max remained under observation, hooked up to monitoring systems that tracked every heartbeat, every fluctuation in his vitals. Evelyn barely left his side. Hours turned into days. The AI continued tracking Max's progress, adjusting dosages in real time based on how his body responded. Sarah and James slept in the waiting room, refusing to leave. Then, on the third morning, something changed. Max lifted his head. His eyes, once clouded with fatigue, looked clearer. When Sarah whispered his name, his tail thumped weakly against the blanket. Tears slipped down her face. "Oh my God, he's waking up." Evelyn smiled for the first time in days. He's responding to the treatment. The relief was overwhelming. Max wasn't just alive, he was improving. The AI had not only found the answer, but it also helped create a treatment plan tailored specifically to his body. No guessing, no trial and error. Precision medicine at its finest. A week later, Max walked out of the clinic on his own 4 paws. James knelt beside him, rubbing his ears. "You scared the hell out of us, buddy." Sarah looked at Evelyn, eyes filled with gratitude. "If it weren't for this technology for you..." Evelyn shook her head. "It wasn't me, it was the AI. This technology is the future of veterinary medicine." And in that moment, James and Sarah knew. The price they had paid wasn't just for a machine. It was for time, for hope, for Max, for a second chance at life.